Hello, thanks for being in a new video. This time I have full review of the HUAWEI Freebuds Pro 4. Although I consider that they are not yet in an ultra expensive range. The launch price in Mexico is $3,999. On the screen you see the reference price in dollars just to give you an idea. But here the interesting thing is that at least at the time of recording this video, HUAWEI is offering a promotion where they include a loss insurance if you suddenly drop a headset and you never find it again. You can pay the replacement with a 50% discount, so it can be interesting. Although I insist this is only at the time of recording this video, but HUAWEI Daily adds new promotions or gifts, so check the official store for more information. You know what is available at the time of your purchase? For now, I anticipate you that, but join me to know them in detail. Let's start talking about this design. In this case, I have the 3 color options available. So we are in front of the option in green color. There's also an option in black color and an option in white color. All 3 options are highlighted in gold color, so it matches nicely. Let's start by talking to you about the case. We are going to find a ceramic finish that HUAWEI claims is even impact resistant. So I think at the level of I just dropped it and if it held up, at the level of resistance they are pretty good. The case is still not water resistant, although the earphones are, and in this case the back of the case, right where the brand name comes, will have a small interesting detail at the level of design and in conjunction with the music, as HUAWEI calls the case waterproof. These are strings, obviously inspired by the instruments of this style and have been laser engraved. You can see a small detail. In fact, from far away you can't notice much. But if you see it closely, you can appreciate this little detail that HUAWEI puts to this product that makes it feel much more premium. On the right side of the case, we are going to find an easy pairing button. So just have the headphones inside the case and hold down the button if you want to connect them to another one. A device. We will also find an LED on the outside that can change its color to indicate the current status of the headphones. At the bottom we find the USB-C port to charge them, and we will also find a small speaker. You may wonder why a speaker in the case of the headphones can be useful. It's simple, just have a premium experience because this speaker can emit a small sound when the headphones are in a state. I have to say that it's a little bit of a small detail, but it's a little bit of a small detail. As I say, a small detail, but it makes them feel more premium than simpler headphones. And in addition to the USB-C port, we're going to find wireless charging on the back, which also gives you a little more practicality. And by the way, the case weighs 47 grams, and as you can see, opening it is quite easy. In fact, you can do it with just one hand, but the magnetic absorption is strong enough, so you can't open it with just one hand. The headphones do not even close so easily. So if you want to have them uncovered on the table because they are going to be updated or something similar, there is no problem, unlike other headphones that can suddenly close by accident or accidentally fall off the headphones. So everything is very good in terms of design in these headphones. Let's talk about the specific design of each of these headphones. As you can see, we are going to find a closed design. That is to say that they come with a cushion to passively isolate any type of noise outside. In fact, the interesting thing about these headphones is that they have 2 options of ear cushions. These are the traditional silicone ones that we are going to find in a lot of headphones and others that come with memory foam, and both options are available in a variety of colors, included in the box in different sizes. In the case of silicone, there are 4 pads available from XS to L. The default size is M, but as I say, you can change for the one you like. In the case of the memory foam material, we will find 3 pads available, simply small, medium, and large, because in the case of this material, it will adapt better. It is a material that is between soft and rigid. So both the feeling of comfort and insulation is very positive. Personally, I prefer to use that option, but it's great that HUAWEI lets the user choose if they want a certain material for comfort. Through the AI Life application, we will be able to run a small test, so you know if you are using the right pads or possibly need to look for some others. And since we are talking about the application, I anticipate that this may become one of the small drawbacks in this hearing aids experience, since the application is not available on Google Play Store. But you have to download it manually. Therefore, you must enable the option to install applications from unknown sources within the security settings of your device. It is something that advanced or experienced users or those who like to play and test your device will not have any difficulty in finding. But users a little simpler that may not have so much knowledge in the management of the cell phone may face some level of difficulty, which I insist is not something so serious. But compared to other headphones that do have their application in Play Store, could have a little difficulty there. Although in the case of iPhone, if you are going to be able to find the option directly in the App Store, so on iPhone, there is not so much difficulty in this regard. So you should also be clear that these headphones, despite being Huawei, are not only compatible with Huawei, but with any other brand. However, if you have a Huawei, it will give you a superior experience that I will tell you throughout the video. But let's go back to talking about the design of these headphones. Since I was telling you that they have a close design, they have a weight of 5.8g each. One, they are not heavy or anything like that, and in fact they are also quite comfortable. You will not notice that you start to hurt your ear very quickly when you have the headphones in place. In my case, I have also been adjusted perfectly. I am not falling every time or anything like that kind of problems. Although that can vary depending on each body, but at least in my case, I have not had any problems. And similar to what we saw in the design of the case that has a string design, in the headphone we will also find this same line. If you see the headphones from up close, right on the part that is visible when you have the headphone in place, we will find these same laser engraved silver strings that give it this premium touch. On the inside of the headphone, we will also find the sensor to detect when you put on or take off the headphones. By the way, this is an option that you can enable or disable through the application. The option is called wear detection, so if you don't like your content being paused when you remove one of the headphones, you can turn it off completely to your liking. The headphones do have the IP54 level of resistance against water and some levels of dust. In this case, they are not submersible, but you can drop water on them and nothing happens. For next generations of high-end headphones from Huawei, we could ask that they resist being submerged simply so that in case there is any accident and you drop it in the pool or in something that has greater depth, and you can have a little more peace of mind, but we still do not find that here. And by the way, if you happen to lose one of these headphones, through the application you will also find an option to make them sound. In this case, they do not appear on a map or something specific in terms of location, but why, if you suddenly dropped it and you can't find it, you can make it ring to make it easier to locate. Now let me talk about the controls that we will find, and in this sense the experience is completely premium, and it seems to me that it is the most advanced I've seen so far in all the headphones I've tried. For starters, it has the pinch gesture, this on the tube that's left on the outside, so it's very handy. It is a control that we have seen present in other hearing aids. With a pinch, we're going to be able to play or pause content. Or if you're getting a call, you can answer it, and if you're already on a call, you can also hang up. So one pinch does several actions. With two pinches, you can go to the next song, or you can also reject an incoming call. While with three pinches, we can go to the previous song. But it not only has control through these pinches, it also has a touch surface on the back that will allow us to change the volume. So by sliding up, you can increase the volume, and by sliding down, you can decrease the volume. And with a long pinch we have more actions. In fact, in this case, you can configure the controls through the AI Life app I told you about a moment ago. And yes, it does distinguish between left earphone controls and right earphone controls. So you gain more versatility. By default, by pinching and holding on either earphone, you can access the noise control, that is, turn on noise cancellation, turn it off, or turn on the mode that works for listening to the outside. In fact, through the app, you can also configure which modes you want to be available to toggle, whether you just want it to be two or you want it to be all three. But these headphones not only feature the pinch and swipe gesture, they also feature a touch surface on the outside. So it also distinguishes the touches that you can get to make. With a single touch, there is nothing available, I guess, to avoid unwanted touches, but with two touches by default, there is the action to play or stop your music, but you could also assign the action to go to the previous song, go to the next song, or even activate the voice assistant. With 3 taps by default, you go to the next song, but you can also activate it to be the previous song. So, combining the pinches that you can do on different options, along with the taps and along with the swipe action, you have a myriad of options to make the experience as smooth as possible. Custom you want. And still, to top it all off with the whole controls experience, if you have the headphones on and you get a call through the app, you can configure whether you want to answer by simply nodding your face or your head, or reject the call by also doing the no head movement. So if you're going to use them to be exercising and suddenly a call comes in, you don't have to stop exercising to answer, but simply move your head to answer the call. The head, and that's it. That's why I'm telling you that everything that has to do with controls on these headphones is at the highest I've found. Let's move on to talk about the sound experience, which is one of the most important things in headphones. While the design and controls are relevant, I think the most important thing will be the sound, and in this case they don't disappoint either. They really offer us a very high sound quality. In fact, they offer 2 drivers, the first one of 11 millimeters, which has a good enough size, and another one which is the planar diaphragm driver that will give us a much more defined treble. In fact, the driver is dynamic and offers 4 magnets to generate an extremely good frequency range in conjunction with the planar diaphragm that I mentioned. So, for your reference, in general, most headphones have a range from 20 Hz to 20 kHz, which this is the range that we as humans can hear, but these headphones extend that range and reach from 14 Hz to 48 kHz, which means that we will not be able to perceive those frequencies. But the fact of extending this range also allows the frequencies that are close to the limits that we can hear to have more power and therefore more presence. So the headphones really sound very good. The sound quality has enchanted me, and this with the equalizer that comes by default. But if you as a user want to access to experience some other equalization, such as having more powerful bass or have more defined treble, we will be able to access an equalizer with 7 presets customized by HUAWEI Sound. These presets have been developed in conjunction with music professionals, so they offer you a very well-balanced sound. In fact, it's divided into 2 categories. We have the basic category and the professional category in all of these presets. And also, if none of the presets convince you, you can access a custom 10-band EQ where you can create your own preset. So I think you have enough tools to find the sound you like the most, although I insist I loved it from the main preset. So, all this with respect to the frequencies that it is capable of emitting, but now what about the sharpness of the audio or the resolution? In this case, you should know that we are offered a wide variety of codecs as well, so that you can use them in different devices. We have the most basic SVC, which obviously will not have such a high resolution, but that ensures that it has compatibility with any Bluetooth device. Then we find the AAC codec, which goes up a level, but it is still not something so spectacular. They will also depend on what device you are going to link it to. For example, with an iPhone, this codec would be the highest resolution available due to limitations of the iPhone, not due to limitations of the headphones. Then we will find the LDAC codec, which goes completely up a level. It offers a very high resolution. But if you have a Huawei of the latest generation or high-end, you can also use the LDAC codec. LHC version 4, which is the codec that Huawei has developed. In fact, in this case, you would use near-link and not Bluetooth to be able to reach up to 2-3 megabits per second in audio resolution, which is a spectacular resolution. In fact, few songs could ever take advantage of that level of resolution, depending on what streaming music service you use. But as I tell you, the headphones are prepared for the highest resolution possible. Currently, to take advantage of that maximum resolution you need on the Huawei Mate X6, but as I tell you, in the future, more Huawei devices will be launched compatible with this. But anyway, even if you do not have a Huawei phone with all these features, you can use the LDAC codec and you will also enjoy a very high quality audio. In fact, through the application settings, you can also choose whether you want to give priority to audio quality or you want to give it. If you give priority to the audio quality, the LDAC codec will be enabled if your cell phone supports it, and there are cell phones where in addition to this, you have to manually turn on the LDAC codec within the settings of the headphones, so I just tell you this so you know. But the truth of the case is that the headphones have a spectacular sound, will offer us a bass data, well-present and well-defined mids that do not bother, highs and lows that do not bother. The headphones are a well-defined, brilliant one audio with great clarity, and they also have noise cancellation that obviously you can also configure through the application. Not only through the controls that I mentioned a moment ago, and as I said at the beginning also, since they have the option of memory foam in the pads, with that option, you can cancel up to 30% more of ambient noise then, both in sound and noise cancellation. The experience is excellent, definitely that. Now let's talk about the microphone, since in this case there are 3 microphones present, and among them is included a bone conduction microphone. That is, it can also capture how your voice resonates inside your head to optimize the pickup of your voice in noisy environments. So, what do you think if we test them through a call?
Ahora estamos en una llamada y estás escuchando el audio de la llamada. Mr. Pablo, ¿me escuchas bien?
Señor Isaías, lo escucho muy bien, no suena nada de ruido y todo muy claro.
Ok, muchas gracias. Entonces nota cómo estamos en el mismo ambiente ruidoso y los audífonos cancelan muy bien el ruido.
Be faithful to reality. It will not apply noise cancellation, then it can also be useful, but I insist that this is only available when you use a HUAWEI cell phone. Now let's talk about the battery issue, which in this case, you can always consult from the application so you know exactly the percentage, or also the LED can show you when the battery is already very low, and we are going to find 2. Our use cases, as I told you, you can select if you want to prioritize the audio quality, so if you are using the LDAC codec, you will also have more battery consumption, while if you use the AAC codec, we are going to have a lower power consumption. So individually, without considering the case, you can get up to 7 hours without noise cancellation using the AAC codec. If you consider the case, you can get up to 33 hours of battery life. It's not the highest we're going to find in the industry. I would insist that, at least on my type of user, this is more than enough. But it is completely up to you how long you listen for. If you turn on noise cancellation, you're obviously going to have more power consumption, and it would give you about 5 hours of playback individually, or 23 hours considering the case. You know that battery life can vary depending on the volume at which you listen to music and other factors, so just take this as reference data. On the other hand, if you're prioritizing audio quality, then you would be using the LDC or LHC codec, and in that case the battery consumption is higher, so you would get 6.5 hours without noise cancellation. And 30 hours considering the case still without noise cancellation. With noise cancellation, you will get 4.5 hours individually, or up to 22 hours with the case. So I insist that at least for my type of user, this will be enough. But it is completely up to you how long you listen. If you're on long trips or whatever, in this case, the headphones have fast charging when you put them in the case. So it would take 40 minutes to fully charge. If they were fully discharged, obviously you don't need to wait 40 minutes before continuing to listen to music. So that's good. On the other hand, if you want to charge the case, it would take 1 H to charge them via cable, or up 2.5 hours to charge them using wireless charging. And here is something interesting and new that I had not seen in other hearing aids, and this is the first time I find it, and it is about smart charging. Something we have already seen in cell phones, tablets, or computers. But now Huawei also moves it to the hearing aids. This will help extend the battery life, according to Huawei figures, by 38%. What does it mean to extend the battery life? Well, you should know that as you use the hearing aids and anything that has a battery, this battery loses its capacity. So you have probably noticed that as time goes by, the battery of your hearing aids does not last as long as it did before. This deterioration can be reduced thanks to smart charging. So for example, if you have left your hearing aids charging overnight, or they have already been charged and you have not disconnected them from the power supply, this will cause the battery to, it's going to deteriorate. But these headphones have this smart charging, so if they detect that they're already fully charged, they're going to have a mechanism to stop charging or start discharging a little bit and not have the battery at 100% at all times, which is something that's detrimental to them. Thanks to this intelligent charging, the headphones learn your routine, and if they detect that you leave them charging for a long time, they will charge more slowly so as not to deteriorate the battery so much. And then definitely that also in battery we found a good experience, especially in charging. Maybe the autonomy is not the brightest as I was mentioning, but having a good charging protection mechanism. The experience is very good. Let's now talk about the connection. They come with Bluetooth 5.2 and also Nearlink, exclusive to Huawei, but through Bluetooth 5.2 you can connect to other devices. In this case, we are talking about a version that is not the most modern. So maybe it is not going to offer us the maximum range or the maximum stability compared to headphones that have Bluetooth 5.4. In this sense, it is not the most advanced in the industry. Although I was testing them and even leaving my cell phone on the first floor and going upstairs, the connection was maintained. So I think we will not find something serious or bad in this regard. And as for the easy pairing tools, obviously if you have a Huawei device, you simply uncover the case and they will immediately be detected, whether you use a cell phone, a tablet, or even a laptop. The dialog box appears and you can link them without further complication. If you have a Windows computer, even if it is not Huawei, it will also be immediately detectable through a notification. Since they have Microsoft Swift Pair, then it is an excellent way to detect them. News. What it does not have is Google Fast Pair for obvious reasons. So to pair it to an Android device, you have to do it manually. Enter the Bluetooth settings. See the list of available devices and press is also not something so complex. But let's say that on Android you cannot enjoy this dialog box and this nice animation. And by the way, you can also be connected to two devices at the same time so that, for example, you have music on the computer while you're working, and if a call comes in on your cell phone, you can perfectly answer it without having to manually switch devices or anything like that. So the experience there is very good. And through the application includes a device manager. So also if you have already connected to several devices, you can delete some that you are no longer using. Finally, we are going to do the latency test. Although here too, the experience can vary a lot depending on the device. Is linked. So I'm going to test with Huawei Mate X6, which would be the most advanced you're going to find in terms of latency connectivity. And then we're going to test with a mid-range. And as you notice, the latency on Huawei was very well controlled. Obviously, it's still noticeable. It's not like you're using wired headphones, but it's within what one can expect from high-end headphones. In fact, what I found curious is that even connected to non-Huawei Android devices, we saw good latency as well. This means that there is not that much delay between the moment I touch the screen and the moment the headset sounds. The experience is really good. In fact, if you have a Huawei, the low latency is adjusted automatically. The cell phone immediately detects when it needs to activate the low latency and when not. And that experience is really very good. If you don't have a Huawei phone, manually in the application, you must enable the low latency option or disable it. Because if you have low latency enabled, you may see a little more instability in the connection. That happens in a pair of headphones with low latency. And as a conclusion, I think they are really very attractive headphones, have good design, have good sound, have good controls, even have good latency. Possibly their only difficulty is the application to customize the experience, but even you should know that it is not necessary to install the application to use them. The app is useful if you want to customize the experience, but it is not required for the rest of the features. I insist that the headphones give a very good experience, so they are highly recommended. For the moment, we have reached the end of this video. If you liked it, you know you can tell us, and we'll see you next time.